You are tuning in to Fabulous and Fortunate, a Monáe's Musings production.
Greetings and welcome back to another episode of Fabulous and Fortunate. I'm your host, Amayah Monáe, and I am very excited to get into today's conversation. So, this is a podcast where I want for there to be endless play, right? Like endless abundance, endless of us just realizing our true potentials and just following through on those. So, today's episode is especially important to me because I'm just going to kind of be what do you call it? Just not rambling, but I really just want to get some free thoughts off of the top of my head concerning this topic. And today's topic is how we should not let our feelings dictate our plans. So today there is a full moon in Cancer. And Cancer is one of my favorite moon signs because I feel like when there's a moon sign in Cancer, I feel like everyone feels it. It's like we're all just a little bit more home driven, a little bit more cozy. And it is very cold where I am. I'm not sure if it's cold where you are. But there's this like cozy atmosphere that's in the air. And I feel that the topic that I want to discuss today about how we shouldn't let our feelings, kind of collide with the plans that we have is just so important because honestly, I feel like it's very easy to allow how you feel to dictate what you do, even if how you feel goes against a plan that you had. So, just to simply start this off, I just want to say, have you ever made plans to do something and you really wanted to do this thing, but then when the time comes to do it, maybe you're tired or maybe you're, feeling down and not as confident, or you might feel a little sleepy, a little grumpy, a little mad, whatever, and you decide not to do it, although you had the plan to do it. Do you remember how you felt afterwards when you were looking back and seeing that you didn't do the thing you wanted to do? Do you know that feeling, like that regretting not doing something because you just didn't feel like it? That's not a good feeling to me. And I was reading a quote today. It was on my tea, like some of the teas that I buy, they'll have little like quotes on them. And the quote said, I'd rather regret what I did than regret what I did not do. And that hit so hard for me. Because I was just thinking back, like, wow, like so many times where I wanted to do something or I said I would do it maybe. And then when the time came to do it, I didn't do it because maybe I started second guessing myself, or maybe I started listening to other people around me, right? And maybe they were telling me, oh, you shouldn't do that. So we don't do the thing even though the plan was to do it. And today I want to say we cannot let our feelings get in the way of the things that we want to do in our life. And I feel like one of the reasons why sometimes we can let our feelings cloud our plans is because we identify with those feelings sometimes. If you are a person who gets anxiety, and as soon as you go to do the thing, you feel the anxiety, you're probably going to start thinking, oh my gosh, what if this? What if that? You're thinking about what's going to happen in the future if something doesn't go the way you want it, or maybe something will go the way you want it. And you're thinking about the pressure. Like I used to be that kind of person. And I used to identify with the emotions that I was feeling. And I feel like when you do that, you set yourself up to allow your emotions to dictate literally every single thing you do. And then we start to identify and associate with these emotions. Oh, I'm just an anxious person. That's just how I am. Well, what if we looked at our emotions that we felt as like we're experiencing them? Emotions have a good place and then they have a time in our lives where they just aren't supposed to be. So I feel like when you're able to look at how you're feeling versus what you want to do, and you're able to kind of turn off the emotion sometime and then do the thing, but still feel the emotion, I think that's that sweet gap where we're able to be in tune with our emotions, but be in tune with our goals and our dreams and our plans. Because I feel if you always allow your emotions or feelings to dictate what you do, you're always going to live your life in like an external locus of control. I remember I first learned about locuses of control in my AP Psych class in high school. And I remember, what I remember most from that lesson was if you have an external locus of control, you will always allow things outside of yourself to dictate your experience. Versus if you have an internal locus of control, you allow how you feel about yourself, right? And what you're doing in the moment to dictate what goes on in your outside world. And I just remember that always has stuck with me. I'll just be daydreaming, and then out of nowhere, locus of control like comes in my mind. And then I'm thinking, oh my God, am I having an internal locus of control right now or an external locus of control? There's so many moments where people have seen me daydreaming, and I'm sure they're wondering, like, what is she thinking? And that's 5 times out of 10 probably what I was thinking about. But I feel like especially with a Cancer full moon, Cancer is already that intuitive, nourishing, nurturing, mothering type of energy, because the natural house of Cancer is the 4th house. And the 4th house deal with all things, our roots, our family, our home, our environment, our inside feelings, our intuition, our emotions, what we're feeling. So now we're all just being shown what areas of our lives are we allowing our emotions to call the shots instead of our plans. And then when I realized that, I was like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe this. This just made so many things click. Because I feel like when you're able to step back and look at your life and see, where am I letting my emotions dictate my actions instead of allowing how I want my life to look, or allowing the plans that I have for myself to dictate my actions? I feel like when we get so caught up in our emotions, they can cloud our judgment. They really can, because emotions come in like literal waves and they sweep you off of your feet, whether it be rage, whether it be anger, whether it be guilt, whether it be love, whether it be kindness. These emotions really envelop us in their arms, literally. And I feel like if you don't kind of realize what's going on in each moment, you can kind of get swept up in some of those harsher emotions like anxiety, depression, guilt, those very, very low vibrational emotions that make us feel terrible. And they have their place in time to feel, but I feel like when you start vibrating on those emotions, that's when your life experience begins to reflect that fear, I believe. And then I think it's harder to stick to a plan when you're like drowning in guilt or drowning in shame. So, yes, we're just all being called to stick to the plan. Like if there's anything in your life that you really want to do, but sometimes your emotions get in the way, I encourage you to write down your plan, like whatever it is, whatever you're trying to get done. Write down your plan and put it in a place that you can see it every single day. And anytime you're starting to feel an emotion that can kind of make you not stick to the plan, I want you to go look at the plan and just read it to yourself out loud. I am doing etc., etc. This is what I'm doing, etc., etc. Like, that is so powerful when you're able to look at how you want your life to look at any given moment of the day and ask yourself, like, is what I'm doing now contributing to this? And if it's not contributing to this, like, what can I be doing right now? Or how can I pull myself out of this emotion in order to get this thing in motion? Sometimes you have to be harsh with yourself. And I said I was not going to continue to have another year like last year. Something me and some of my associates, we were talking about, we were just, no, we want things to be different. So how are they going to be different? And I feel like things become different when you stick to the plan and don't go by like how you're feeling and go by your emotions. So sticking to the plan, I feel one of the best ways to live the kind of year that you want to live. You just have to stick to the plan. You can't allow your emotions to sway you away from the plan. You can't allow your emotions to sweep you up in their arms and take you away from the plan, because the plan is the plan and you need to follow the plan. Like, plan, actionable steps, desire equals success, in my opinion. So, yes, we're having this beautiful first full moon of the year under a very chilly night. And I hope that whatever you're doing in your life, you allow yourself to honor yourself and stick to your plan. I feel like when we really love ourselves and we like ourselves, we do stick to our plans. And, sometimes life happens, of course, and that gets in the way of certain plans. But I feel like that's why we have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C. Did you remember in the movies and shows we used to watch when we were kids, they always had a plan, in the action series. They would say, okay, what's the plan? Plan A. Okay, plan A didn't work. Okay, we're going to plan B. Okay, plan B didn't work. Is there a plan D? Just always be able to go to some variation of your plan. And I feel like no matter what happens in your life, you're going to always get back to center because you're following your plan. And plans, honestly, they can go so many different ways. But in the end, I believe that what I'm saying is don't always allow your emotions to dictate your life. Because that's very, very easy to do. It's very easy to. So yes, that is all I have today. I hope that this was helpful to you in some way. If it wasn't, I'm sorry. But thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. And I hope you have a blessed week. I hope that you're just surprised in ways that even surprise you. And I hope that all of your plans go through and that you continue being great and showing up in your full energy and not being afraid to do so, not being afraid to follow the plan and living your best life. Yeah, stuff happens to us sometimes. And I feel like with the moon being in Cancer, we're all just reflecting on things and reflecting on things that have shaped us as people and as human beings and how those things have affected us. And I feel like we should just all be gentle with ourselves. And yeah. Thank you for listening.
This has been Amayah Monáe with Monáe's Musings. And until we speak again, may your head and your heart speak with one voice. Peace.